Hi everyone. I'm trying this video as an approach to help students with the user guide assignment. Based on the outlines that I've seen, several of you are struggling with this, and I thought it might give a different perspective on how to approach the assignment. Please continue to help each other out in the forums because by helping each other, you're helping each other get better grades, and that's always a good thing. So, the overview of the user guide. There's a lot of information here. Read it twice. It might help you to hand copy it onto paper so you become more familiar with what is here. Do those things. Okay, so project 7 is to use the styles template to write a user guide that includes these elements. It needs to be 10 to 15 pages. A final draft of this is worth 15% of your grade. A rough draft is worth 15% of your grade. And there's an outline memo that you need to write beforehand for an assignment grade. And the outline memo lets me know that you understand this assignment. So that's why I have you do that first. This is a user guide, not an assignment. So you're not going to refer to this as an assignment. Work in this class is considered work. So don't refer to it as classwork, assignments, that kind of thing. Refer to it as work product. Here are some things that you need to know. Use only our template. Use only our styles. You don't modify our styles in this class. If you look at the styles template, there's a picture in there of buttons not to use in Microsoft Word, including the font button, the font size button, the bullet button, the numbered list button. We're just applying our styles. Use course conventions. In this class, everything you learn week 1, you bring forward to week 20. Everything you learn in week 2, you bring forward to week 20. It's a cumulative class. So I expect you to still be naming your files appropriately. I expect you to be writing steps exactly the way we have learned to write steps in this class. So those of you who are still struggling with that, jump in the forums, ask some questions. So include the following content in your user guide. Make sure you describe what these features are as well as providing instruction on how to use them. Remember to introduce concepts before you discuss them in detail. So include the following content. Describe these features and provide instructions on how to use them. So this is the content of your user guide. If you chose what to write about for your user guide, then that's not assigned. I have chosen for you what the topics in your user guide will be, and here they are. If it helps, grab a pen, grab a paper, and write down the list. Instruct your audience on what document properties are and how to use the feature in Word. Instruct your audience on what styles are and how to use them in Word. Notice you should not be using style names. Several of the styles we use in this class are specific to our class. If you talk about a step style with somebody who's not in my class, they would have no idea what it is, and their version of Microsoft Word wouldn't have it. So when you describe how to use styles and what styles are, you don't actually have to name the styles. Creating headers and footers. Understand that headers and headings are different things, and I know we confuse those words, but write a section on what headers and footers are and how to use them in Microsoft Word. Have a section on using graphics in Microsoft Word. What are graphics? What kind of graphics are there? How do you use them in Microsoft Word? Have a section on adding callouts to graphics in Word. So Word supports adding callouts to graphics. Talk about that feature, instruct your audience how to use them. Have a section that tells how to create a table of contents in Word. Word has built-in indexing tools. They let you create indexes and they let you create table of contents. So have a section that tells how to create a table of contents. I provide a video on that, so you can follow the video. Then have a section on creating an index in Word. I do not tell you how to create an index. This is something you're going to have to go out on the web and find out how to do this. But you can create an index in Microsoft Word using Word's tools and have a section, an instructional section on what an index is, why it's cool, and how you create one in Microsoft Word. So those are your topics. In addition to those topics, provide an actual table of contents to your user guide. So you're describing how to create one, you're instructing your audience how to create a table of contents, but your user guide actually has a table of contents. And then provide an actual index for your user guide. So not only are you providing a section on instructing users how to create an index using Word, your user guide actually has an index as well. So you can imagine that one of your top level headings will be table of contents, one of your top level headings will be index, because you'll have one of each. Your document should also have an introduction that introduces the user guide. Now, we've talked extensively about introductions. The introduction needs to let your audience know what's in the document and know if the document is useful for them. So if you tell them it's about Microsoft Word, but you don't tell them it's for Mac OS X, then somebody with Red Hat Linux version of Word, doesn't exist, but somebody with such a thing could be wasting their time starting reading your document when it doesn't apply to them. So make sure the user guide informs the audience not only what the document is for, what the document does, but also what versions of operating systems and software it deals with. And then if you use other sources, include a works cited section. So put this immediately before the index. So if you have a works cited section, you'll have a top level heading that says works cited, and that will precede the index. The index will be the last section in your document. So what I'm thinking is you'll have a cover, you'll have a table of contents, you'll have an introduction, you'll have the body of your document that will contain information about an instruction about these features in Microsoft Word. Then you might have a works cited section, and then you will have an index. So that is what I expect the document to be, and that's how I read this. Several of you missed the part where this is what you're writing about. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 features in Word that I want you to explain and instruct on. They're listed here. Some of you missed that. So this is how you would decode this kind of assignment. This assignment's a little tricky because it also has several parts. There's the outline memo, of course, and then there's the rough draft, and here's what I expect for the rough draft, and then there's the final draft. Now, the rough draft is going to be content complete, and I'm going to give you feedback on it. And then for the final draft, you're going to implement my feedback. So you might get an A on the rough draft and then a D on the final draft because you don't implement my critique or my markup effectively. So you can get a worse grade on the final draft than you got on the rough draft. Alternatively, you can get a much better grade on the final draft if you don't do very well on the rough draft, but you implement my markup tremendously well, you might get an excellent grade on the final draft. Please follow up this video with questions, post them in the forums. I would like everybody to participate in discussing them.